Hello everyone, Isn't Michaela here? I made a video chronicling my experiences with academia and my PhD program, which honestly seemed to resonate with a lot of people. It's kind of weird because my channel is incredibly small, barely anyone sees my videos, but I got a lot of comments saying that they really connected with what I was saying. And a few of them wanted to talk more with me about imposter syndrome, how to recognize it, what to do about it, and how you can get through academia without having imposter syndrome cripple all of your dreams. I've definitely had my run-in with imposter syndrome. It doesn't matter how successful you are or how many good grades you have, imposter syndrome is a phenomenon that can affect literally anyone that's trying to achieve something. So today I wanted to give you all my thoughts of fighting and managing imposter syndrome and how you can not only recognize it in your own life, but take steps to mitigate it. And the best part is I'll be using tech metaphors to explain all the concepts so it doesn't actually seem like I'm talking about my feelings. That might be the subject for another video. Now, the internet states that imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. A lot of people have imposter syndrome, but they haven't either come to terms with it or even recognized it in their own lives. I want to preface this by saying that I am not a therapist. I don't have a degree in psychology. I build robots and do science-y game things and like the environment. But I've gone through the academic ringer and have really struggled with a lot of imposter syndrome tendencies that I'm only just coming to realize in my own life. And I think that the more human, sort of grounded experience of someone going through imposter syndrome can really help people that are struggling with this as well. Imposter syndrome, in my opinion, manifests in two ways. And since I am a super tech nerd, I've categorized these two types of people into two different types of circuits or circuit components. Type 1 are what I call the resistors, and type 2 is what I call the batteries. Now, does that sound super confusing? Good, because it's supposed to be, because I hadn't explained anything yet. Now, in this metaphor, let's pretend that the Arduino board is your inner power. It's your internal sense of self, it's your self-respect, it's your motivation, it's all of the things that you want to manifest and radiate to the world. And the light is your ability to take in that energy and radiate it, express it in ways that give you the most meaningful and satisfactory life that you would like to live. Okay? When we're dealing with imposter syndrome, we feel trapped in phenomenon that make us seem not as capable as we are. Now, the first type of symptoms that can be manifested by this feeling, what I call are the resistors. So let's take this circuit and add resistors to it. Okay, so I daisy chained a bunch of resistors to this light. And you can tell that the more resistors you add to this light, the dimmer it becomes, because that's how electricity works. People that are the resistors in their lives sabotage and resist any compliments, any praise, any sort of thought that they are good at what they do. These are the people where if you try to compliment them, it's going to be extremely shut down. They're going to be very pulled inwards. They're going to say a lot of self-deprecating things to themselves. And just like this light, they're going to dim their radiance and dim their potential by continually sabotaging the connection between their inner self that knows that they are capable and then their ego. These types of people might be extremely passive. They might have a very strong sense of, I have to do this, I have to do that, while not thinking they're really good at any of it, nor taking joy in the skills that they've acquired. Just like adding more resistors to your life, this sort of technique makes your light much, much dimmer, and that pent-up energy needs to be released somewhere. And oftentimes it will be. It'll be released through maybe acting out, through a breaking point, through just a complete shutdown of the body. I've seen this in a lot of my friends. Imposter syndrome is really, really tricky, but this type of manifestation is a very inward sort of sabotaging motion. Now, I said there were two types, right? The first are the resistors, and the second are the batteries. Well, what are the batteries? Okay, Do you know somebody in your life that is a super overachiever? That puts all their time and energy into making things, creating things, is super good at what they do, and takes much joy in praise, and almost needs praise in a stronger than normal degree. This person generally achieves a lot, works very hard, is never sitting still, never really relaxing, being alone with himself, but just working, and like, hey, everything's great, everything's awesome, I made this thing, look at what I did. Hey, look, I did this and this and this. Just never breathing, never taking a break. Imposter syndrome can also manifest in symptoms of extreme extroversion, extreme energy, and extreme accomplishment. Can you guess which type I am? Can you guess which type? The issue with these types of personalities is that they rely entirely on external validation to achieve some internal sense of itself and accomplishment. And I can tell you from experience that people with this type of manifestation of imposter syndrome rely on external accomplishments and validation to continually perpetuate their habits of needing achievement and praise to feel like they are worthy, to feel like they belong, to feel like they're good at what they do. Rather than achieving their sense of self and power from within, internally, which would be from the Arduino, from your core processing units, they've rerouted their ego and sense of validation through external praise and external accomplishments, like getting your power from a battery. People that exhibit this personality type rely on external stimuli and external sources of accomplishment to maintain their ego's sense of identity and worthiness, when in fact they need to be getting it from within themselves, which is the core processing unit. This presents a large amount of other challenges, because if your light is dictated by external sources, you're going to need to keep chasing these external sources in order to feel like you are worth something and to feel like you're good enough. This leads to people thinking, this isn't bright enough. I need more batteries. I need to maybe double up on the batteries, maybe triple up on the batteries, just daisy chain them all together. I need to accomplish more things and do more stuff and be more impressive. And it cycles. This becomes inadequate, and you eventually need more batteries until the light just blows out, because it literally can't sustain itself off of all of the external voltage that you are basically giving it in your life. Whereas the Arduino, what's inside here can provide you with a reasonable, sustainable, and controllable voltage to power your ego, to power your fulfillment, and to power your life. Relying on external sources is static. You tend to want more power, and it's artificial. It's not coming from within you, so you're not going to really ever get that true fulfillment after the initial dopamine hit of hooking up the battery. I can say personally for me, when I'm in the most stressed and feel the lowest points in my life is when I want to achieve the most. I'll start throwing myself into my work. I'll throw myself into videos. I'll throw myself into projects. Basically hooking up all of the batteries in my life to try to avoid rewiring my circuitry in a more healthier way, because I'm afraid of what I'm going to find. There's a lot of fear associated with dealing with imposter syndrome. Like, is the circuitry strong enough to power me? Is it internally flawed? And all of these questions make us avoid the issue and try to search for that external validation. And I think in a lot of cases, you'll have both tendencies inside you, sort of at the same time. There are people that will simultaneously achieve a lot and search for that external validation while continually putting themselves down and resisting their own internal current. So, we understand the two scientific models that are at play here. How do we actually help them? There's a difference between support and acceptance and just over complimenting the person. Support and acceptance says, I love you exactly the way you are. You don't need to be any smarter. You don't need to do any more things. You don't need to do anything. You just need to be you and do what makes you happy, and that's enough for me because I value you, the circuitry that I see inside you, I value that. If you over-compliment someone and say, oh, you're a genius, you're so smart, you can do whatever you want, you're capable of so many great things, now you're putting expectations on the person that already feels not good enough. The more people say I'm a genius and I'm so smart, the more fake I tend to feel, because that's not helping me accept myself. It's just saying, oh, apparently I need to be doing more things. I need to be accomplishing more in my life. Otherwise, I'm not worthy of this praise that they're giving me. Tell them that you love them, that you accept them, you support them, and you're safe with them in whatever they choose to do in their life. So many people go on roads like I did, thinking that I was set for a path that I really didn't have any passion for, only to realize it wasn't sustainable. And because I built my entire identity on this circuit that was fake, I couldn't see what else I could be. It was only when I released myself from the expectation of, I don't have to be a grad student. I don't have to get my PhD. I don't have to do shit. I don't have to do anything. I just have to try to help people and do what I love. And the pieces will come into place. And releasing myself from that cage was so empowering. So emphasize freedom and acceptance, no matter what path they choose to take in life. Now, if you yourself are dealing with imposter syndrome, it's going to be a little harder because your brain is going to be thinking about ways to sabotage that thought every single minute. If it were as easy as just saying, oh, I'm good, I'm worthy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and having those thoughts and having it fixed, we wouldn't have need for therapy. That's not how the mind works. I see mental health like building a robot. You could have the greatest parts, you could have the greatest tools, you could have the perfect physical, you could have everything externally you could need. But if your internal circuitry and your internal code isn't serving that machine and it's written with baggage, then that robot isn't going to work. Likewise, you could have the best, most pristine Zen mind state you could have, but if you're not practicing a good, healthy lifestyle, that's sort of like having the perfect circuitry and software, but having a robot with very poor parts. It's not going to be a good robot. You need both, and that's what makes it so hard, is there's no one right answer. It's a multitude. So if you're dealing with imposter syndrome, I highly recommend you need to start doing some internal work. You need to sit with your fears, however scary that is. Cry if you have to, get some tissues, really close your eyes and go in there. Figure out what you're afraid of. And then figure out in your life, what are the triggers for your imposter syndrome? Does it tend to flare up before a big exam? Does it tend to flare up after you're talking to your overachieving parents? Is it when you're asking people about grades? Figure out, look at your feelings, be mindful of them, and figure out when they're flaring up. And then, just like a machine or just like a learning algorithm, you can link different events and times in your life to emotional spikes and work on creating a lifestyle that will mitigate those spikes. If you find that you're feeling really down after talking to your parents every single conversation, sit them down and have a chat. And if they don't see eye to eye with where you're coming from, consider backing off on those conversations and prioritizing your mental health. If you find that it's mostly has to do with when you're in large groups of people talking about exams, don't talk about exams. Take your test and leave and go with your other groups of friends that didn't take the test, that you are feeling much more secure and you can focus on other things in your life. I can't give anyone one solution because there is no solution. It's so personal and it deals with your own demons and your own understanding of yourself, and you can never get those solutions if you don't understand yourself. So the best advice I can give is to figure out who you are, released from any expectations. Recognize that sometimes over-complimenting people can have a backfiring effect, especially with imposter syndrome, and figure out how you react to these feelings of imposter syndrome. Do you self-deprecate and be the resistor? Do you overachieve and be the battery? And how can you rewire your circuitry so that you are experiencing your life in the most empowering way, using power sources that are healthy, using circuitry that is strong, and is distancing yourself from any external sources of validation, so your light can shine as bright as it can be from the places where it's meant to shine. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you learned a little something about how you react to imposter syndrome. If you did, please give a like, comment, and subscribe. I didn't expect to be talking about psychology and imposter syndrome in academia on this channel, but in between all my robot stuff, I would be happy to tackle some of these issues with you. I'm so happy that I'm able to put these videos out and that people appreciate them, and I really hope that you get as much out of them as I get out of making them. And above all else, if you feel super alone, if you are doubting yourself, I know that I don't know you and I don't know your story, but I'm truly proud that not only are you here trying your best, but you're looking at these videos trying to get a handle on how to improve yourself. We are all machines, and we're responsible for improving, maintaining, and keeping ourselves up to date. And I'm so happy that you're taking those steps, and I'm so proud of you. And no matter where your journey goes, you will have people in your corner. You will be safe, you will find self-fulfillment, and you'll be okay. Thank you so much. Special thanks to my few patrons who have tried supporting me in this journey, and I can't wait to make more videos. See you next time.